Good morning. Good morning and blessings. We are trying to get it together. It's not us, it's the system. I
It's the
understand
system.
Facebook is down across the country
Yes, all
and all of it. And so we hope we're coming on YouTube and the other ones. But if not, we'll do this again another time. I want to say good morning. Good morning. I can't say good afternoon because it was down yesterday. We had the
Good
system down.
morning.
So good morning this morning. Thank God for allowing me again to be here present with you, trying to deliver the information that he's given me to give you. And that's serious because we got to, as African people, get some new sets of information that have been distorted over the years, and we believe it. And if we don't get ourselves corrected, we're going to be guilty of just hating ourselves continuously, and we do. We don't like our color. We don't like our hair. So that's real. So I'm here just to try to disseminate information that I have for you, not non-negotiable, just information. And I thank God for it. I thank God for my crew here, my producers, Lula Salvador and Sheila Brown Bird, and my advisor, Juanita McClure. And, of course, I thank my promotion crew, Halim and Elijah. And I thank Norm. I said Halim. I thank Norm. This young man keeps me real. He does all the things that allows me to bring my message on. I thank him so much for it. And, of course, my co-host, Terry Benjamin. You can't hear the rain. It's raining out there, Joe. Sure is, but I sure thank him.
Glad to be here.
Right. I thank my podcast family for rejoining me today. We'll be back on Monday at 4 p.m. if everything goes well. We'll pick up where we left off. There was a power outage, as I said yesterday. I can continue to believe that God is in control and he will see us through if we do our part.
That's right.
That is why I'm here every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until Norm gets me a new time slot, playing the part of, I'm here playing the part of Ezekiel. I'm not a prophet by no stretch of the imagination, but I am a child of God who knows that we need new, correct information, lest we perish for lack of it. And that's Hosea 4:6.
That's right.
That's scripture.
That's right.
Because misinformation is ungodly.
It is.
You know,
it is.
taught us how to hate ourselves. That's misinformation.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And that's not
That's what it
godly.
is.
Now, I believe, in addition to myself, the amateur, it's going to require the expert.
That's right.
And I say expert, number one, those who are faith-based.
That's right.
Because you know we are very faith-based people,
That's-
believing
faith-
that
faith's
God
important.
needs to be our guide.
Yes. Yes.
Number two, our historian,
That's right.
thoroughly knowledgeable of our history,
That's right.
where we came from,
That's right.
the original people,
That's right.
what we did when we got to Africa, builders of societies,
That's right.
etc.
That's right.
The knowledge of the they have to know knowledge, the thorough knowledge of our kidnapping and from our homeland, Africa,
That's right. That's right.
Cubalon,
That's important. That's
through the
important.
Middle Passage, thorough knowledge of the treatment
Yes.
heaped upon us over the 400 years.
That's right. That's right.
And number three, the relevancy of psychiatry
yes.
and the relevant psychiatrists,
That's right.
psychologists. You know, those who studied our unique situation, those who can recognize,
It is unique.
research,
It is unique.
identify,
Right.
diagnose, and develop cures for what ails us.
That's right.
That's the expert in
Yes.
Africanism
That's right.
I'm referring to. Now, let me just say, this is the beginning, Terry, this is the beginning of Women History Month. We have great guests lined up,
Oh, wow.
you know,
Great women, great
we
women.
have great guests lined up for you for this month. So you all stay tuned, please. Next Monday, March 11th, we will have Pastor Tracy Brown,
Wow.
Ruth Fellowship Ministry, a mover and shaker in this community and a dynamite preacher. She just will preach your soul happy. She will be talking about
like that.
all the things we
love
need
that.
to know.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
got to have our faith-based people, you know, to
Yeah,
help us
got-
get through and get
They
recovered
got
from what
that.
we've been
That's-
through.
They got that.
Yeah. And we are going to have a young lady, an attorney, Joy R. Spirit. She's been in Plainfield, I think, for over 35 years, but she's still young.
That's right.
And she's doing her thing. That's what we as African people going to need more than anything else. Lawyers.
Right.
We need that. So
Right. We
she's
need
going to
advocates.
be advocates. She's going to be talking about that.
Beautiful.
Okay, and Monday, March 18th, we will have women who are making waves in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Barker, host of Make Me Matter, and Does She Make Us Matter? She brings women together, has an annual women's conference that you don't want to miss.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be talking about it. Then there is a mother-daughter duo.
Oh, man, that'd be nice.
Miss Linda Reed and her daughter, Yasmin
Looking
Griffin.
forward to that.
Yeah, both receiving their doctorate degrees together. A dynamite
that is
duo.
great.
Both educators in the Plainfield school system.
Oh, man, it's beautiful.
And we have Miss Jerry Woods Cole, former legislative aide and good friend of the late Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver.
Wow.
Lieutenant Sheila Oliver has recently been lionized throughout the state with honoraries all over the place.
Yes.
Now, Jerry will talk about that and other endeavors she's in.
Well, that'd be nice.
Jerry is presently the legislative aide to Senator Brittany Timberlake of East Orange.
That's impressive.
Very.
That's impressive.
The fourth Monday, March 25th,
Mm-hmm.
we will have 3 women who have groomed our youth to greatness.
Oh, man, that's great.
Rose Cabbage-Stalk, happened to be my sister.
Keep it in the family.
Pride, keep it in the family. From Rose's studio. She teaches piano and voice and has been in the Plainfield school system for years.
Wow.
A singer.
Okay.
She sings.
Yes, she
Equal to any of the greats. She recorded, and we may hear one of the tunes.
Oh, man.
Well, we
beautiful.
recorded.
That'd be beautiful.
Miriam Bay.
Wow.
I've had her on before, but she is president of Television, a personal development project, and host of a TV show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She had worked with youngsters for years.
Wow.
Founder and director of Creative Gardens,
Mm-hmm.
and Lady Ann Chester.
Mm-hmm.
That's my sister-in-law from Palm Beach, Florida.
Oh, man. Okay.
She's retiring from the nursery school she established 25 years ago
Oh, man. It's
through
amazing.
her church that her husband,
Wow.
the eminent Dr. James Chester, is the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Terry,
Oh,
we got a great
You got a
lineup.
lineup. Got a great lineup.
We
Yeah.
got a
Yeah,
line
this will be a
up.
special
Yes. Okay,
Women's
so,
History Month.
So I'm the guest today on the show. So
Okay.
Terry, you better go on and
Okay, well,
introduce your guest.
let me start it this way. Just one thing that I have to mention, because you mentioned it so much, the whole concept of faith. But faith without works is dead.
Dead,
And I
yeah.
want to commend you because you have your faith and you have your work.
Thank
And as we start our program, always we start with a bio of the person. I have to act like I don't know this, and I have to act like I don't know you. Okay, so that's going to be the hardest part of this particular program. But let's get right into it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Shivers is a graduate of Seton Hall University with a BA in Communications. She attended graduate school at Rutgers with further studies in the master's degree program of education at Montclair State University. Now, we know that you're author because it says right there. And here, your 5th book is Why Shouldn't I Cry? Ode to the Black Man is your 5th book. And on the back of the book, and I quote, it says here, this is a book that we didn't see coming, but now that it is here, it must be embraced like the lifeline we weren't expecting, but no, we have to grab onto to save a life, and more specifically, the lives of our black men. And this is from, surprise, surprise, Professor Terry Benjamin.
Thank you, Terry.
Yes, and I
He's
really,
a little biased,
yeah,
but
I'm
hey.
a little biased, but and I had the pleasure of seeing the book before it was published, and she said, "Could you write a little something?" And I said, "I think I'll write a little something," not knowing that you would put me on the back cover of the book, and I was really surprised, but pleased. But again, that's her 5th book, and now her debut book is what she is entitled "Tired, Trite, and Tasteless Expressions to Keep Us Damaged," and this is the original cover of the book, and you blessed me with this in 1997, and also you had autographed it for me. But now I know you have a
cover.
new cover and a revised book, and you call this one Verbal Healing. And again, there are people who read the book and had good things to say about it. And this one is from Betty Dobson, who's co-chair of Simotep. And she said that this is a artfully combines a healthy dose of motherwit with plain reality to create a potent mixture of total revelation. Her observations go right to the point. They are pure and unadulterated. And this is from Betty Dobson. And then we have your second book, Victims of Confusion. And a good friend of mine who passed not too long ago was Shamsuddin. And I had the privilege of editing some of his books and working with him. Mm-hmm. And he says here, Ruby won't just teach you about what it means to be confused. More importantly, she'll teach you how to break free from confusion and release the negative baggage that's holding you back from reaching your goals. And this is from my friend and your friend, Shamsuddin.
Yeah, and
then you change up on us, okay? Because you're always unexpected here. And now you bring forth a third book, which is a fiction book, which I told you I definitely would like to read that book, and maybe we can change it into a play.
Oh,
and then Evelyn Apgar, Courier News correspondent, she says this about that book. She says, tales of everyday life from birth, fights, crime, violence, new jobs, affairs, marriages, sickness, and deaths, and mythical small southern town are told through the eyes of a family matriarch. And this is your fiction book. And in your fourth book here, Emotions to Live With, Let Go, Let God, Ruby forces us to look through the mirror of your soul to accept all emotions as relevant. And Ruby is a resident of Plainfield, New Jersey. And as I go through this, I see you've been in the struggle for quite some time.
Yeah.
You definitely put in your work. You backed up your faith with works. And I have to ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
You've done all this, and you've been all this, but how old are you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well,
now I don't ask you for myself.
Not if you don't mind my asking you how much money do you have in your bank account.
That's personal.
Probably. Probably not because you're ashamed to tell me, but it's probably because, like you say, it's personal.
It is personal.
Now you may be ashamed for whatever reason, or you may just think it's not my business. But since I told you to ask me that question, I'm going to get you off the spot. I told him to ask that question because I'm going to go further into explaining for the benefit of our seasoned people.
Yes.
In this Western society.
That's right.
People are generally not ashamed of their age, but there are consequences.
That's right.
Negative consequences around age in Western society.
That's right.
In Africa, on the other hand, age is revered.
It is.
You know? But here you can lose your job. You can be excluded from things. You can be demonized like the president of the United States right now.
That's right.
As much as they say he has done, why would you want a younger person who may not meet those requirements?
That's right. Doesn't have experience.
But there's not a negative around advanced age in the society, as I said. And I've often say this profession I'm in now is the few places where age is not a negative.
And that's something.
The understanding of us as African people welcome the wisdom
of
the elders in light of the miseducation of the young.
Is that something?
You know?
That's right.
Not all of the young, but many.
That's right.
But to answer your question, age is just a number, and mine is unlisted.
I love it.
Now, when I told Terry to ask me that question, he almost fainted.
Yeah, I could believe it.
Almost fainted. Yeah. But, Terry, I have been blessed. Let me put it that way. I've been blessed with longevity. A lot of my family have invested longevity.
Yes.
And so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But, it's interesting, and I think I was talking to my twins, my grandchildren, and I said something that I know that you can relate to. I said, one of the things that has helped me, and I think help you to stay current and stay engaged, is that we found something that we love to do.
Oh, yeah.
And we do it every day.
I've used that. We are commissioned to do.
Right.
Sometimes we get up in the morning not ready to love it to get out of bed.
Right.
But we feel that the necessity, and that's what this show is all about. I tell people I didn't start this show, this podcast, because I was didn't have nothing to do,
Right. Yeah.
or that I needed extra work.
No, you didn't.
I got
You
great,
always
I got great grandchildren that I could take care of.
That's work right
But
there.
it was necessary. God has put it in my heart that information
Mm-hmm.
is necessary for us as African people. Least we're gonna perish for lack of the correct information.
Well, that's so true, Ruby. And the thing is that again, I know a lot of people talk to me about what I've been doing for many years, and I always say, and I know you say the same thing. I'm not new to this.
You're right.
I have a background, and you have a background.
Yeah.
And I guess the first question that I want to ask you is, now I know that you started in cable TV. How did you get to that? How did that start?
Well, that's a long story in itself. Quite a long story. As I said before, I think I was at Seton Hall University at the time, and cable was introducing these programs and the offer.
It
for
was very
people
new.
It was very new because I advised folks at that time. I had my show, and I advised other blacks. I said, this is a new thing, and it's going to be, resourceeful.
Yes.
At least.
Yes, of course.
We need to get aboard.
Yes,
And I did.
yeah.
That's when I came up. But that was mainly I had this notion that we need to teach our kids from youth who they were, whose they were, and they will come up being resourceful people as a result.
Right.
So that's what happened.
And what was the name of that show?
Youth in Pursuit of Knowledge.
Oh my Lord! Oh my Lord!
Youth in Pursuit of
And
Knowledge.
that's not all.
Yeah,
we still
exactly. Still have
youth.
I tell you, I sort of always been a rebel with a cause.
I love that.
I've always been. I'm going to tell you a little about myself. See, I've been around for a while.
Yeah, you have.
Still not telling you my age, but I've been around for a while. I came up from Florida after graduating from high school.
See that? Yes.
A year later, I got married to the love of my life.
Yes.
We call him Lloyd.
Oh my.
L-L-O-I-D, now not L-O-R-D.
Yeah, right.
But then we call him Pete. Some called him Dad and Papa.
See that?
But I call him the best thing that ever happened to me.
Look at you.
Look at me.
Look at you.
And he's an ancestor now,
That's
but
right, yes.
after 55 years together.
Oh my.
I
goodness.
guess I've always been, like I told you, a rebel, if you will.
That's right. Rebel with a cause.
Yeah,
I love
after
that. I love that.
graduating, I left Lake Butler and went to Gainesville for employment. That was typical of what we did down there.
Yes, of course.
I ended up working as a kitchen helper
What?
in the restaurant for an Italian family who had just come down from New York.
Oh my. Goodness.
Well, and I tell this story because I think we all need to tell a story to our people.
Of course
we
we do.
see the
Yeah.
psychology of what when I finish
That's
telling you
right.
the people we need to get us through.
Yes.
One of the ones is the psychologist, and
Okay.
we see why we need that
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
tell you my story. And I know you have stories,
Enjoy
and
it,
all our
we
black
all
men
do.
today
We all
have
do.
stories.
Yes,
They
yes,
can
we
tell
do.
you a little something that other folks can't tell you.
Exactly.
But when that was, and see, when I came up, I went to Gainesville for an employment right out of high school.
Yeah.
I ended up working as a kitchen helper
What?
in this restaurant. It was an Italian family who had just come up from New York.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Well, that was pre-integration.
Yes.
We were not allowed in the dining area,
What?
thus not allowing us to talk to the customers.
Oh,
I was in the
goodness.
kitchen cutting vegetables.
This
and
is history.
For salad.
This is true. This is true.
I heard a voice asking a question, but not for a moment thought it was for me,
What?
because I thought it was for the white folks around.
That's right.
Then I heard him say the N word.
Oh my goodness.
He said, "N, didn't you hear me talking to you?"
Excuse me.
I tightened the knife in my hand and went for him. At the same time, the owner's son came out and grabbed my hand.
Yes.
When they took me home that evening, the mother said to me, "You're going to need to go north. You'll get hurt down here."
Yeah, you can't live there. You can't live there.
Well, little did she know I was waiting for a train ticket from my sister who had promised to send for me at the end of summer.
What? Okay.
So I came north and
Moved it up a little bit. Yeah.
I came north and have been fighting ever since.
What?
I marched with Reverend Al Sharpton
Okay.
in defense of Tawana Brawley and the Central Park
I
Five.
remember that.
Mhm.
And
I was part
automatics
of the
and everybody.
delegation, to bring Sister Winnie Mandela into New York when they were
What?
threatening her entrance.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
I was a speaker for the Million Women March from this area
Yes.
on
yes.
Channel 7
I
with
remember
Felipe
it.
Filipiana.
Yes.
My group, WISM, Women in Support of the Million Man March, hosted Minister Farrakhan
Oh, wow.
to tour the Wisdom Mansion that we have.
That's something.
Oh, I've been around that. But I like more to talk about the quality of events I have been associated with.
Yeah, please.
See, I was an entertainer for a moment, Terry. So, yes, I have met Nat Lee Cole. I met David Ruffin. I met B.B. King, even some of the younger ones.
Right.
Joe Rule.
Oh,
I met him.
Yeah,
and not to dismiss their relevancy, but to say that my interest has always been about the deliverance of our people.
Yeah.
So even from a very young age, I was conscious of our right. I'm going to read this passage from my book, Verbal Healing. You know, I was 16, Terry, when I was commissioned, my sisters and I, to go to
what was the name of that group? Your sister?
Well, it wasn't a group at the time.
Was it a group at the time?
Kids. I was just 16 years old at my church.
Okay.
And here, when I write in the introduction to my book, Verbal Healing, you may want to pick that book up because it's interesting.
Okay.
I said, I'm at the convention now.
Yeah.
Are we ready for integration was the question. I was only 16, a delegate to our annual Sunday Schools convention held in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay.
I represented Hopewell AME Church. That's the African Methodist Episcopal Church in Lake Butler, Florida.
Yes.
This was a particular plain for sign for me, having recently lost my hero, my dad, who was killed in a car accident by drunken white men in a pickup truck on Christmas Eve.
Goodness, wow.
When these degenerates rammed my Uncle Jersey's truck in the dark of that holiday night, all of us children riding in the rear of the truck flew right out along with the crackling collard greens and other goods my uncle peddled.
Wow.
This was also a time when I was introspective and more keenly aware of the impact of racism on our everyday lives.
Of course.
In addition, to borrow a phrase from my dear deceased mom, I had just begun to bud.
Yeah.
So the question, are we ready for integration, broached at that convention, found me intolerant of the self-effacing nature of that concept. Also representing Hopewell ME Church were my sister Lula and my cousin Lorraine and Lois.
Yes.
We were articulate.
Yes.
We were articulate, courteous, and well-behaved youngsters. Back in the day, even at 16, you were still a youngster.
Yes.
These conversations, which at times seemed more a display of social and academic skill than spiritual enlightenment, provided us the opportunity to broaden our horizon. Although our grammar was intact, we were now still country bumpkins facing the especially smart, honest students from Lincoln High School in the big city of Gainesville.
That's amazing.
I had never spoken contemporaneously before at the convention and had barely mustered the nerve to read from my daily written reports. But on this occasion, indignant as I was, fear became a paper tiger, allowing the volcano inside of me to erupt. I found myself on my feet and I began to speak. I resent the question. Are we ready for integration? Please explain, I said.
Yes.
Everyone was startled.
Yes.
The ministers in the audience, their mouths ajar, glanced at each other with amazement. This little 16-year-old getting upset.
Right.
Since it was the responsibility of the youth delegation to carry the debate, one of the youth panelists proceeded to explain. It was a bright kid from Lincoln High School attempted to explain. She said, we wouldn't know how to eat properly if we went to their restaurants. We wouldn't know how to talk properly if we were in conversation with them. We wouldn't know how to conduct ourselves. I interrupted her. Please, I said.
Wait a minute.
Why should we get ready to associate with a people who have enslaved, raped, murdered, and stolen our very essence?
Wow.
Now, I have heard ministers say many times that if you are lost for words and open your mouth, God will speak for you.
That's right.
Well, I bear witness to that truth. My tongue became the sword for a recurring dream I had throughout my adolescence, where I was sharing away the falsehood from our ugly existence.
Yes.
I had not realized I wanted to say so much we were at the age where socializing with the fellows was more important than staying inside those boring meetings.
Of course.
So when the meetings got boring, Cousin Lorraine would find a friend who would record the minutes in our absence, and we would find out where the boys were. This meeting was different.
Oh, of course.
When I finally exhausted myself, 2 young ministers began to applaud and praise me for my wisdom and insight.
Oh, wow.
Hopewell AME Church Youth Group had finally arrived from country bumpkins to rebels with a cause.
Oh, my goodness.
So that is just part
Bravo.
of where, right?
Bravo.
So we all have stories to tell
right.
like that.
Yes.
And it's so important because I go further. So when I came to New Jersey, got married,
Yes.
had my first child, Lloyd. I called him Boo. Other called him Rashawn.
All right.
One of the greatest gifts that God could have given me. I had 2 others, though, Walter and Bland, just as great.
Yes.
Well, after being a little bored at that time, see, men at that time thought it was unmanly for their women to work.
Yes.
But I wanted
It's
to
old
work.
school.
Yeah, old school. So I got a job in this factory, producing Christmas trees. Never dreamed I could be a machinist.
That's something.
But that's what the boss put me on. And believe it or not, I turned out to be their best machinist,
Of course.
producing more Christmas trees than any other. And when the machines broke down now, we sat around until they were repaired.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We were just getting paid for producing
That's right.
because we were only up on the production line getting paid for the amount of trees we produced.
Okay.
But the boss had other ideas. He said, when the machines are disabled, you will have to pick up a broom or mop and stay busy. Stay busy. Well, see, this being my first job up here. But it still didn't sound reasonable to me. And I had been schooled by my older sister, Mary,
Yes.
an ancestor now, who I always give credit for schooling me.
That's right. Yeah.
I tell everybody,
Yes.
my mother taught me how to be a lady,
Yes.
and my oldest sister taught me how to be a woman.
That's something. Yes.
She had already advised us about the racism in the North and had advised us that if we were in a situation on a job
Yes.
where there appeared to be unfairness. You say, I came here looking for a job. That was a favorite quote.
Yeah,
I came here looking for a job, and I could leave here looking for a job.
That's right.
So when the
That's right.
machines broke down again, and they would,
They would. Of course they would.
I rushed to my corner.
Yes.
I
yes.
sat down. The boss came in and declared, y'all
what you
pick
doing?
up the broom.
Mhm.
Everybody got up, picked up their broom, except me.
Oh,
Except me.
okay.
He looked at me and said, if you're not going to work, you can punch your card. I said, with all the sister in me that I could muster, if you're not
Right
going to
on, right
pay
on.
me,
Uh-huh.
I will punch my card. And that I did.
Okay.
Well, when I went home, I told my family, my husband, and he said, I didn't want you to work in the
Anyway.
first place. Well, after that incident, I was determined not to go back to the factory.
Okay.
So I started business school, aspiring to be a secretary.
Mm.
But I wanted to be an executive secretary.
Okay.
I signed up, and everything was going well until President Kennedy was assassinated. Well, you say what that got to do with it, right? Well, the director, the owner, Mr. Hall, called me in his office and said, Ruby, I know you signed up for the executive secretary position, but now that president had been assassinated,
Yes.
you may need to take the clerical course. I was shocked,
Okay.
flabbergasted.
Yes.
I said, what does
Indeed.
President Kennedy have to do with what course I take?
Yes.
And he said, well, you may not be able to get a job in that field. Well, by this time, I didn't understand, but I did say, no, I will continue my course. But listen, when I graduated, Mr. Hall sent me out on my first job recruit
Oh my goodness. Wow.
at a firm he owned,
Oh,
run by his son.
that's something.
I was assigned as an executive secretary in the sales department of this fairly large company. I was way over my head.
Wow.
Yep. And I would
that's
let go
amazing.
like around the third day.
Mm-hmm.
It affected my confidence.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
That incident motivated me to correct the deficiency that leads, that I thought was me.
Yes, yes.
Shortly after, I enrolled in Seton Hall University.
Mm-hmm.
Scared as all get up because I was married.
Yeah,
This time with 3 children.
Okay, okay.
Going into a university that I thought my qualification would certainly be lacking.
Of course, yeah.
To this predominantly white elitist school.
That's right, yeah.
Competing with youth, you know, young people,
Yes,
recent high school graduates.
yes.
Oh, I was scared, all right, but determined.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I was totally surprised at the misunderstanding I had allowed myself to fester all those years.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they tell you something that
you know, and
you'll never be able to
exactly
qualify.
And when I got there and looked at what I was competing with, I
you
was
said,
pleased.
what?
Give me
I
a break.
I could do this.
But now this is the kicker, Terry. Years later, I was standing on Broad Street in Elizabeth. You know where Elizabeth
Of course,
is?
yeah, you know I do.
New Jersey, waiting for a bus.
Mm-hmm.
And someone came up to me, a white lady.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I know you. No, she said to me, I know you don't know me, but I worked at this place. I won't name it right now.
Okay.
When they hired you as secretary.
Wow.
She said the executive secretary, well, that job, she said, had been filled by 2 secretaries.
Whoa.
The executive secretary and her assistant.
That's something. Oh.
But they hired you to meet a quota. When you didn't work out, as they knew you wouldn't,
Oh my
you
goodness.
had met their quota.
Yes.
That was like the therapy I'm talking about that we need for the misinformation and mischaracterization of us for over 200 people in a year.
That's
See,
right.
had she not come back and told me that, I would have lived with that stuff for years.
You never know.
I may have gone through it,
Yeah,
whatever. But it would have been in the back of my mental mind that I was not good enough.
That's right.
But when she made that statement, that's what we need clarification. That's why it is so important for me to do what I'm doing.
That's right.
At least we go away like I did. Although you're thinking that we were what people say we are.
That's
We
right.
have to know the real deal.
We have to know who we are.
We have to know who we are.
Yeah.
So that is just good information just for us when we think that we don't meet the standard.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times we look for validation outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Not realizing the validation that we need is inside ourselves.
Right.
And I just
And
want
we
to say,
won't know that
No,
until we have what I call these experts
yes,
who
yes,
study
yes.
how to deal with the minds of people, the psychology of what we went through.
That's
It
right.
was not
That's
just
right. That's
just you know just by happenstance that we are here. They stole us, kidnapped us,
Yeah.
brought us over here, and put us through the worst treatment of any thing that had ever happened to human beings.
Of course, it was unique.
My
in
pastor
a
preached
very,
about that Sunday, about the
yeah.
different types of slavery.
Yeah.
That was not slavery what we went through.
No,
We need to get a new name for it, otherwise we're going to be confused.
and that
ourselves.
was part genocide, part
And it's still affecting
psychological
us today,
terror and that kind of thing, you know.
affecting us even today. Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question. We've had this Women's History Month for some time, and my question to you is, how do you see that? What do you see the value of Women's History Month?
Well, I don't ever like to make comparison to our situation, racism,
Yes,
but there is such a thing as women have been maligned and not given equal treatment also.
Exactly.
Yeah, not to the extent.
Okay.
I mean, women in general.
Yeah, in general.
Black
yeah,
women, of course. That's
yeah,
all women.
yeah.
But they're being so. But I think it's good because I think any place or any person, anybody, or anything that's been marginalized needs assurance.
Okay.
And this is giving women a whole lot. This has been very good for women to know that they matter.
Yes,
They equal.
Yes.
They do things that they were not allowed to do because they thought they were not allowed to do. So I think it's really an excellent.
Yeah, and I think for myself, I just think it's giving women an opportunity to know their value.
They know the value.
You got to know your value.
Because we all are. And when I say women, I'm talking about specifically black women.
Yeah.
You know, to know their value, but that includes all women. Because white women was not equal to
They
their
were,
men
I
at
mean,
one time.
at one time they couldn't even vote.
They're right. But that's because, and what happened, so when I wrote my book, Victims of Confusion, it was to diffused. What that we've been planted with.
All this confusion.
All that confusion.
Yeah,
So victim of confusion, and we are confused. Many of us, we don't know how to approach our situation, and some of us don't even know that we have a situation.
That's right.
You know?
Right.
But sort of like this coronavirus that came upon us so unexpectedly.
That's right. That's
we
right.
didn't know how to approach it.
Yes.
Some of us didn't know if we should approach it.
Yeah, right.
And some of us don't know that there is a condition to approach.
Mm-hmm.
But what we all know is that there were millions of people left us as a result
right.
of something.
Wow.
Through the middle passage,
We lost people.
The virus, we lost millions. So we are confused people.
Yes, we are.
So in our case, I declare there are 3 elements necessary for our redemption.
Okay.
Number 1, faith,
Yes.
history, and psychology. Faith, because we are faith-based people, believing in the Almighty.
That's right.
History, we must know the greatness of our past.
That's right.
And psychology, acknowledging that there was mental and psychological consequences coming from such treatment.
That's right.
And solution by which to treat and eliminate the syndrome.
Of course.
So when I was writing my books, that Victims of Confusion, that was the essence of that book. Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful thing because, again, like you said, some of us don't even know what we're going through.
Right.
And I think, again, through your testimony, through your time in the struggle, you've done this. But I want to go back just briefly to when you had a trio. It was you and your sisters, and what was the name of that trio?
The Phenomenon. I wrote a couple of songs. My sister Lula wrote a couple of songs. We were writers also.
Okay.
There's one song I wrote that we recorded. What was it, Lula? Give me happiness. You give me happiness. I wrote that tune.
Oh, okay.
You give me happiness. It could have been sorry. You gave me today. I'm going to ask you for tomorrow.
Oh, hey, you're rapping now. You're rapping. But that's still relevant.
Yeah.
That's still something that we still need. We need that happiness.
Yeah. One of these days I'll play it on here.
I'd love to hear that.
The lyrics.
I'd love to hear that.
and of course, my sister Rose was doing the vocals on it.
Oh, my goodness.
And so Lula and I was sort of in the background.
But why the name? Why did you call that group Phenomena?
Because we were phenomenal.
Okay.
We were definitely phenomenal.
Would that
we
mean
was
Well, I know you
pretty.
were.
We was great singers.
Great singers, great lookers, right? I see the pictures. You're beautiful.
Okay.
Now, would that be in reference to Maya Angelou's A Phenomenal Woman?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I tell you, it's not, my pastor. He recited that Sunday. I zoomed in and he recited that. I tell you, it was something. He reciting that poem, I tell you, was so impactful.
That was a love letter. A love letter to you women.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And how many albums did you actually record?
Well, no, we were just in for a minute and an hour, and I thank God for that because I often think we had everything going. We had all the potential, but we didn't make it to the big screen and I thank God for that now because you never know where we could have been.
That's true.
And looking at looking at the music and in the entertainment society now, there's so much going on.
Yeah. Things you don't want to get involved in.
Yeah, don't want to get involved in. So no, we just did the one album, and it was interesting. We got I think listed up in the book that
on the charts. The
charts, but this particular book that's all very famous. Can't think of it now. But anyway, we got this one a brother from England. I don't know if it's a brother, but from England saying, "Please don't ever stop singing your voice." He was telling us your voices are extraordinary.
That's validation.
But it just wasn't for us.
Yeah, so you didn't want to go any further with that.
Yeah. We went into something else. We got back into gospel and became the eminent gospel singing choir, the Queens of Harmony. We created a group of the Queens of Harmony. Yeah, we got back in what we call closer connected to God. Our mama was glad.
Oh, she was.
But she was interesting. She was one of those devout Christian old school Christian women.
Yeah.
But she would follow us in every one of our engagements. And she would just sit there, just meekly smiling. And the people would point her out and say, "These are the children's mother."
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, she didn't dance, she didn't drink, she just would sit there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But she
watch
supported her,
Yeah,
her
she
children.
supported us.
That's important, you know.
Yeah, very
That's
important. Just very important. Yeah.
You come a long way.
A long way. My last book, Terry, Emotions to Live With.
Yes.
I don't have any more of those books. I don't have it here.
Okay.
But it's interesting how that book came about. I was telling you about, I was always conscious as a youngster.
Of course.
When I was when I was coming through down in Lake Butler, Florida.
Yes, yes.
You know, as Christian, you got to have to always go to church probably 24 hours a day, whatever the case may be. And we had to always be there with our parents.
Of course.
And the minister, they were always, we were like always that village, a family.
Mm-hmm.
So he was always watching out for what we as children was doing.
Yes.
Always reprimanding.
That's important.
And when he saw us getting into fights and issues with each other, he would always admonish us not to hate. He said, don't hate. You know, and don't be jealous of blah, blah, blah. Those words stuck with me.
Beautiful.
So, but what happened, though, when I would go into the sanctuary and listen to him preach, which my parents made us come in and preach,
of course.
I would hear him use those words in terms of God. God hates sin.
Yes, yes.
God is a jealous God.
Yes.
And it always confused my little mind.
Yes, yes.
You know, so from the time I was there to when I came here and wrote my book, it was always in my mind.
Yes,
I
of course.
had some better revelations of it, but I mean, it still was there.
Yeah,
Question.
Yeah.
So when I wrote my book, Emotions to Live With, it was from that point of view. I was trying to figure out the emotions.
Yeah, yes.
But I say, I'm just reading this a little bit. My brother, who is a staunch non-believer, used to challenge my belief. Used to challenge my belief versus his.
Oh.
One of the challenges was about emotions. He always expressed his strong feelings against the evils of racism, prejudice in terms of hate. And although my feelings were just as strong, I rejected the definition of hate, which were deemed evil.
Yes.
Then he would confound me with his analysis of, or the parallel to God's emotion. He would go about quoting those scriptures that justified or qualified or validated his argument, that is, God hates sin, etc. Yes. God's a jealous God. Yes. So these experiences with him basically is what sent me on a path of trying to reconcile those apparent contradictions.
Okay.
So when I wrote the book,
along
with 3 other women, it was to reconcile those apparent contradictions with facts.
Okay.
Facts that we do have these emotions.
Of course.
So when I wrote about them, the title became Emotions to Live With, Let Go, Let God. That is self-explanatory. Because if you can't control, you do have them. But when it comes to a point, you can't. You surrender.
Yes,
God.
Please.
And so that's the essence of the essence of my book.
Yeah. But I like that whole concept of, again, we do have these emotions, and sometimes we got to understand we can't be ruled by emotions.
Right.
We have to understand that there's a higher level of thought and feeling, and again, I've known you for many, many years, and I've always admired your faith.
Yeah.
Your faith not only in the book, but also your faith in yourself. And one of the things that I want you to answer for me is, I will never ask you your age again. I'll never do that again. But I
that's
want,
all right. I tell you, that's all right. I'm so proud. And when I'm in Africa, I feel so revered. We got off on the plane, and they had all kinds of things laying out for us.
Yeah, because they revere their elders.
Yeah.
But my question for you is that you and I know that a lot of seniors are not doing well.
Right.
Because they get in this age and they sort of fall apart. But my question to you is, what keeps you going besides your faith? What keeps you going and writing your books? Because you don't have to do that. You can just sit back.
Well, I tell you, as I said before, when from a very young age, I was very conscious of our situation as African people.
Yes.
Very conscious. I had incidents that I don't have even time to tell this last incident, but it was a funny one. When I was about 8, 9 years old, Lula, I think we used to walk to school back and forth, this little country place.
Yes.
And we would pass this store where these white folks owned. Now, this man was known for being real serious.
Okay.
He was a white man with some niches in his belt, like where he had killed some.
Oh, okay.
So he was that kind of person, but he owned the store that we passed.
Yes,
He had a couple of little kids that would sick these dogs on us every time we passed by. You know?
Yeah,
And so one day I said to Lulu and John, my brother, I said, the next time he does that, I'm going to slap him. Now, I must have been about 8 years old at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
So, lo and behold, we went by that particular day, and the boy sicked the dog on us. And when he did, I slapped him to the under. But when I slapped him, I got so nervous and scared. He said, Mom. I said, shh. Now, she was in the store. He did that 3 times. He said, Mom. I said, shh. He said, Mom. I said, shh. And she didn't come out. We went on to school, and I didn't know what was going to happen on our way back.
Of course.
Nothing ever happened.
What?
I grew up to know, I didn't know then, but I bet you she was there. She didn't come out because she heard it. And for whatever reason, I always say God was always at our side.
Always, always.
She knew he should have been there.
He earned that.
He earned that one. And she never made note of it.
Wow.
But my dad, I'll talk about him often, Kerry Williams, he was a honest, good man. But he didn't take no mess when it came to his children. So although this man had notches on him where he killed black, he didn't deal with my dad like that.
No.
None of them did.
Okay.
They sort of respected him.
That's right.
Because he just made it clear that my children is off limit.
Like the James Brown said, Papa don't take no mess. Papa don't take no mess.
Well, I think we just at the end of our journey here.
What? We're just getting started.
Just getting started. Well,
This got to be part 2. We got to do part 2.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm looking at the clock on the wall here that says 11 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, we got a little more time.
All right.
Because right here, this is.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
So let's continue.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, when you have those experiences, obviously there's someone looking out for you.
Oh,
I always tell my grandchildren, I said, you know what? God looks out for babies and fools. I know I know, baby. I know I know, baby.
How can we get that one?
But again, I think what happened was something that needed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And again, I think I love your storytelling. Because every time you tell a story, there's a message, there's a lesson. Yeah. And I just want you to preserve yourself and stay healthy and keep on giving those stories because we need those lessons.
Yeah, that's what these books, that's what motivated me.
Okay.
Like I said before, everybody I think should try to sit down because I got a story in them.
Everybody.
Particularly a black person.
Yeah,
I know for sure. Got a story to tell.
Stories.
And sometimes the story will redeem you from notions that you had about yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like I said about the story about me when I thought that it was my negligence. Not negligence, I thought I was not qualified when I went to that job.
Yeah.
I know I had worked hard. I was a secretary. But I didn't meet the qualifications, and I realized it wasn't that I didn't meet the qualifications.
You learned the lesson,
yeah. They had put me in a trick bag to make me think I needed to do that when they had 2 other secretaries doing the one job. I had just come out of, just graduated.
Of course, and that's something,
So I was not even near that had to have that qualification. I needed to have been, done it for a while or whatever.
But they saw something in you that they could exploit. That's
they
what comes out.
It, right? I guess they say she's so determined. I'm
gonna give her 2 jobs.
I'm gonna bring her down to size. When he told me in the office that day that maybe you should go for clerical work, guess he said I'm going to show you what I meant. That you didn't understand me.
That's right. Yeah, right.
And so when I had that experience, I said to myself, maybe I should have gone.
Maybe you should.
Gone. But when the white lady came to me, and said to me, no, you were qualified, but you weren't qualified to do that job because that job required 2 very seasoned secretaries.
That's right.
And if we understood that even from our experience as African people over the 200 years they have brain dirtied us.
That's it.
I use the word brain dirty.
Not brainwashed, brain dirty.
Said. Then we will understand that we are a great stock. We have great potential.
Yes.
We do great things.
That's right.
And we have nothing at all to be ashamed of except that we don't know our history.
That's right. That's right.
That's
right. That's a good point.
Yeah. But I think it's coming around now that we will, because what is done for evil sometimes turn out to be good.
Of course,
like
it
I
does,
often say about Governor DeSantis,
Mm-hmm.
what he attempted to do,
For
it just
evil.
opened up the opportunity for all of us to say, "Oh, were you trying to hide something?"
Yeah,
For the ones that
now we're curious.
You're right.
I want to
Now
read those banned books.
Exactly. And as I said, with what we have done, this group, we have established this homeschooling for our kids around us.
Yeah. I love that. I love that concept.
That they will study their history from home.
Yes,
And I
yes,
suggest
yes,
and I
yes.
advise all black folks to do that. I know a lot of them are.
Yeah,
But the ones that may not have thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
just start something within your home.
Yes, sir.
Do the
Yeah.
village concept.
Of course.
Bring the kids from around your area.
Yes.
Teach them who they are and whose they are.
That's beautiful.
And once
That's
they
beautiful.
understand that, once they get out into the world and meet those DeSantis of the world,
That's right.
they'll know he's lying.
That's right.
They'll know he's
because they know the truth.
They know the truth,
Yes,
and the
yes.
truth will set you free.
Oh, no doubt about it.
You
No
know,
doubt
and I
about
think
it.
that's what with us. And when we are talking about knowledge, you know, for lack of knowledge, I use that all the time here. My people were perishing. And then someone said to me once, "Well, I think he's talking about spiritual knowledge." The scriptures don't. Well, I don't know what's more spiritual than to know the truth about yourself.
Please, yes.
Because with us not knowing the truth about ourselves, we begin to hate that what God made of us.
Exactly.
So
Yes,
that certainly is not holy.
Yeah, because we perish if we
For
lack that.
Yeah,
we
for lack of
need that,
knowledge.
yeah.
So we got to know knowledge about us, how and why we are in the position we're in. I keep using that word because then someone corrected me and say, "Well, we're not the only one in position." Yeah, we're in a position that we shouldn't be in.
That's right.
We are definitely, because given our
definitely.
history of how we created society,
Yes,
how we built a pyramid, how we were the greatest scientists, how we were the greatest mathematicians, something tells me we're not where we're supposed to be.
No. Not with that kind of background.
Not that kind of
That's
background.
like a resume. You got
Right.
this resume, and they tell you got to be a janitor.
Right.
Well, no, I have these credentials, and I don't think this sort of matches up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we just got to get a clear definition of who we are from people who know how to bring the information to us.
Yes.
And that's why I call, experts. Sometimes people get confused with that.
Mm-hmm,
But the expert I'm talking about is expert in specifics.
Yes. And
You know,
that's important.
in specifics.
That's important.
You got to know thoroughly who we were
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning.
That's right.
You got to know what we did in Africa.
That's right. In
How
the
we
beginning.
build it,
It's
in the
our-
beginning.
It's origins. Yeah.
Right. You got to know how and why we were kidnapped
Yes.
because of our greatness.
That's
They
right.
didn't bring people over here just because they wanted people to work the field. They wanted people who could tell them how to
the
work.
cream of the
it.
crop,
Right,
the crop,
exactly.
you know,
Inventors
the
and all the
That's
people.
right. Scientists.
Yeah,
yeah.
we got to know, the expert got to know the situation around the 200 years. Not talking about the last 200 years. The first 200 years of how we was battered
Exactly.
and brainwashed and stripped of everything we know.
Yes.
They got to know that in thorough.
They have to. They have to know that.
The fourth thing they got to know is that we need attention as you would with any great mishap.
Yes,
Like with
yes,
this
yes,
virus, I use that as an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
People came around and they knew that there were certain people who knew how to get through to the virus.
That's right.
Because I went to my primary doctor at one point. Now, he's a professional.
Yes. Yeah.
But he said to me, "I'm not the expert."
Not in that field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I use that word, I want to be very clear.
Yeah, please,
I mean
please.
experts in a certain area.
Right.
Now, we do have those all over the place. We had Dr. John Rick Clark,
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Jeffries,
yeah,
Dr. Calvin. We have a whole lot of experts.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, we need to get those experts together on an umbrella that will be teaching us, the amateur,
That's so
things that
important.
we
That's
don't
so
know
important.
and how to get out of the situation.
Exactly.
That would do one or two things. That would give us agency. That would give us that would give people the respect that we need. That we know that there's something special about what we need to study.
Exactly.
First of all.
No, of course.
Secondly, one of the things that I know we need is reparation.
Yeah,
That's the one I think I know.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
amateur
I-
knows.
yeah, yeah.
But we, that expert, would know a whole lot of other things that we need to get through to people who have the power to do that. And we don't need to think that people are giving us anything. They owe us reparation. We worked free labor
Yeah.
for all those years. So it's not, we shouldn't be ashamed to say, no, you owe us something. Reparation will cure some of that, because reparation will allow us then to create for ourselves what we know we can do when we was right out of slavery.
And then I like the fact that you're getting these experts to speak truth to power.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's coming through our history and the people that you bring
and
on.
the way they know truth, Terry, is that they have studied. See, I know a lot about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm an expert in living black.
Yes.
Listen to me now.
Yeah.
I'm an expert in living black because I live black every day. I know the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs.
Every day. Every day.
But I'm not an expert in black living.
Yes.
That constitutes a whole lot of another thing.
Yes,
You got to know the why, the how, and the where. You know?
That's right.
I'm not a psychologist, so I Dr. DeJoy, with her book, Traumatic Slave Syndrome.
Yes. Okay.
She's one of the experts that know what this has done to us.
That
Exactly.
field. Yeah,
Dr. The ISIS paper. She have studied that note.
That's right.
Dr. John Henry Clark, he knows the history of whatever happened to
Yes,
others.
of
So
course.
you get these people together,
Yes.
come up with a solution to try to get through all the garbage that is in our brain
That's
about who
something.
we are and whose we are.
That's right.
That is very necessary.
Okay.
Very necessary. So that's what I fight so diligently and hard for in terms of trying to just disseminate the information that I have around that.
Yeah.
You know, I that's what I can do.
No,
I can give it to you.
but
I can
you're
indisputable
doing it because
information.
You're bringing people to this platform
Yeah.
that can do that, and that's why I'm looking forward to Women's History Month and also the other programs. But you have a beautiful lineup of people who can definitely bring us to what we need to know, especially at this crucial time.
Yeah.
This is crucial.
Well, enough about me for now. That's been all up for the hour. Let me ask you about you, because I'm bringing you on that co-host. I was so impressed with you and my whole crew. So, no, that's what, you know, because first I started out as a host for the month.
Yes, I remember that.
So,
I remember
right,
that.
but I look at you and I know what you're about, and I know what you're trying to do, and I know we are thinking on the same level. So just tell us a little about yourself, Terry.
All I can say is that I'm happy to be with you every week and whatnot. And of course, like you, I have projects going. You know, I'm writing books. I'm writing fiction as well as nonfiction, and I got some things in the works that I'll be presenting to you.
That's the African thing.
Yeah.
You know, we've always done the fiction and nonfiction, and we brought it right home.
And the poetry.
Yeah,
the poetry as well. So again, what I have in the works is just what you're doing is just really giving our people the information that they need, not preaching at them, not debating them, but like you, giving you the information. And once you get the information,
don't tell too much, because I'm gonna have you on the hot seat.
Okay.
Men's History
I was
Month.
afraid.
If there's not
I got to get ready for that.
Yeah, if
I got to
not
get
one,
ready
we're
for
gonna
that.
create it. You know how I think about black men. I think they're the cat's meow, because I know what they do and I know what they have done and I know what they've been through and still going through.
Thank you, my sister.
Still going through. And Norm, I tell you, I appreciate the time that you gave us today. You didn't have to do it, but you did. We yesterday, when we realized that we wouldn't record because there was outage all over the place. You know, I'm saying to us,
back in stride again.
Yeah, no, I'm saying to us, we won't let that stop us. We're going to want you to come in tomorrow, and of course, that's what we did. And we hope you all had got some information that you could use, and we look forward to seeing you this whole month of March, Women's History Month. But you can enjoy this program by listening to BKS1 Radio or seeing me in person on Facebook, let's say Facebook, because it's going to come up eventually,
It comes back.
or YouTube. You can bless this program by sending a donation to Cash App, $Ruby Shivers, Zelle, Ruby Shivers 158 @gmail.com. And again, we thank you for listening to us all the time, and God bless.
God bless you.